Weekly trades with precision, gold, silver, and commodity setups broken down with full transparency, wins and losses included. This is the Golden Nugget with Verified Investing.
Welcome to the Golden Nugget that happens every single Wednesday on the Verified Investing YouTube channel, the Drew Wolfer YouTube channel, the Verified Investing Twitter, the Drew Wolfer Twitter, wherever it is that you're watching from. We appreciate you so much for giving us a platform. Now, I am your golden guide to everything that's happening inside of not only the metals markets, but the broader economic context of all of the financial markets, right? Now, we went 4 for 4 this week, and gold now has a $5,000 price target on it. We absolutely killed it on our trades when everybody else was scared to go long. We still went long, okay? We went short and we went long. We let the charts tell us what to do, and we set all those trades up live last week on this call, and if you are here for that, we appreciate you. Now, the one thing I will ask of people, okay? If you are taking these trades, drop it in the comments section. Tell us how it's going for you, right? If you're inside of the golden opportunity, drop it in the comments section. Tell us how it's going. If you appreciate this content, share it around to the people that you care about, right? Now, let's talk about what this show actually is and kind of, the structure of it, okay? So there's the first segment, right? Which is going to be called the Commodity Compass. That's where we talk about everything that's going on in the broader context of not only the metals markets, right? And why gold could be going to $5,000 and why we're kind of seeing a floor here at 4K, but also the broader financial markets. Then we get into my favorite segment, which is the second segment called the Golden Nugget. That's where I give you a nice little golden nugget, right? Not a full ounce, but a golden nugget, right? Where I tell you something that is inside that I teach inside of the golden opportunity, which is the training I brought out in conjunction with Verified Investing. And if you want to know how I have my 88% win rate, that's exactly how you're going to figure it out, is go get into the golden opportunity where I teach you exactly how I do it, right? Then we will have a special segment, which I'm not going to tell you what the title of that is. And then it's literally what you came here for, right? You come for the braids, you stay for the trades. We'll do the silver snapshot, tell you the trades we killed it on last week, tell you the trades that are coming up for this week, right? We'll set them all up. And secondarily, we will gauge gold, which is where we talk about the trades that went well on gold last week, how we got our 4 for 4, right? In between silver and gold, and then what is coming up this week in terms of trades. Lastly, we will talk about the economic calendar because it is FOMC week, baby. It's game time, right? We'll do the economic calendar and then we will let you get off of here right now. First and foremost, our very first segment is going to be the commodity compass. So we have, according to the World Gold Council, right, via Kitco is what I'm seeing, central banks of South Korea and Madagascar ramping up gold reserves. So this is kind of crazy, right? The big buyers were usually like China, and these other nations like Poland and stuff like that. Now Madagascar and South Korea are stepping in when, kind of overall demand had cooled. And I say that relatively speaking because overall demand is still there. And that's why we're seeing a nice little floor kind of here bolstered at 4K, which a lot of people were like, if we go below 4K, it's over. And I'm like, we'll probably pop right back up above it, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that in the TA section. Then we have the upcoming FOMC, which is today at 2 p.m., where they are going to announce whether or not they are cutting rates. Now, pay attention for a 25 basis rate cut, okay? If they cut it, we could see a nice little pump in gold. If they don't cut it, could be a little bit bad. Now, we also have easing U.S.-China trade tensions, okay? And this is going to reduce safe haven demand, all right? And we saw an obvious profit taking in the metals markets, but, that's pretty routine whenever you hit all-time highs, right? That's pretty crazy that we hit 4,400 and just went absolutely parabolic with not many pullbacks, right? Now, why does this matter for gold? Because central bank buying, it's really underpinning kind of a structural bullish thesis for the what I would call bull super cycle that's been happening over the past 2 to 3 years, okay? Now, this could keep the tailwinds coming, right? And if we start to see, central banks not buying as much and, federal interest rate decisions being like, nope, we're not lowering any interest rates, we could see headwinds. Now, let's get into the golden nugget, okay? And I want to teach you something that is inside of the golden opportunity. And again, if you want to know everything that's inside of the golden opportunity, just go ahead and get into the golden opportunity. So let's do the golden nugget. I'm going to teach you the double top. Okay, so a lot of times you're going to see these double tops come in and it's going to be like bang, bang. So I want to give you one quick tidbit. Actually, it's a couple. This is some serious secret sauce to the True Wolfer 88% win rate. So just take it for what it is and, appreciate the data that I have gathered over years and years inside of the market, 10 years to be exact. Okay, whenever you see a double top, you know what's really awesome to see with a double top? A new high or a new high first, right? And then a second subsequent high, right? And then what's called a swing failure pattern and a bearish divergence, okay? So if you see all three of those things, double top, like equal highs, right? And then you see this wick through and get a nice little SFP of those old highs, right? Which is right here, and I'll do it with the magnet tool so you can see it perfectly. This is your old all-time high. As you can see right here, we wicked through it, and I'll just circle it so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We wicked through it, right? If you can get a textbook swing failure pattern at those highs on a double top, I mean, this is like A plus trade setup, and guess what happened right down here, right? Price was going up, making higher highs, and guess what RSI was doing? Making lower peaks, okay? So price rising, bang, RSI making lower peaks. That is a textbook bearish divergence. That is how you can catch these double tops and not just rely on like, oh, it's a double top, so I'm going to take the trade. No, you want to have like 3, 4, 5 reasons to be in a trade, and that is a really good example of one. And as you can see, it retraced almost the entire full run up of the double top right here, right? Obviously, you had a double top right here too. Bang, bang, SFP, retraced, but then boom, we blasted up. Double top, swing failure pattern, bearish divergence, retraced almost the entire move, minus about 50 bucks. Pretty crazy stuff, man. So that's like some of the secret sauce that you'll learn inside of the golden opportunity. I really encourage people to get in there. Seriously, this could be one of the best skills that you ever learn in your entire life. It's changed my life, this skill, having this skill. So I can't preach that enough. Now, let's get into the third segment. This is our special segment, and it is called the market movers, right? So the gold pullback. Okay, let's talk about it and what it means for miners, first and foremost. So Barrick Gold Corporation, Newmont Mining Corporation, and others, they're rebounding as gold surged back above 4K today. But people are looking at this cautiously, right? A correction, it might not be over if those economic kind of events that I was talking about earlier do happen, okay? Now, the decline in gold obviously triggered partly by profit taking, okay? And partly by hopes of a US-China trade deal, okay? Which kind of dampens safe haven demand, right? Now, why does this matter? Because mining stocks often amplify gold's moves. So if gold goes up, say 1%, a lot of times you'll see the mining stocks go up to 3%, right? So a sustained gold recovery, it might fuel strong gains in miners, and a deeper correction could weigh, right? Just pay attention, okay? Because what you're going to do is you could potentially watch for miners and potential trade setups in those miners if gold kind of stabilizes, right? Or use it as a hedge if gold falters. Now, as noted previously, let's talk about some central banks. The Korean and the Madagascar central banks, they're adding to their reserves despite gold actually correcting, right? And from a structural standpoint, what this is doing is this is persistent reserve accumulation. This is by central banks, right? This is supporting a long-term thesis for bullish nature on gold and even silver, right? So you've got scarcity plus safe haven demand plus monetary diversification, okay? So while you may see these short-term price swings, okay, and they may dominate the headlines, right? The backdrop of central bank demand adds credibility to a gold portfolio allocation and a floor on gold, okay? So take what people are saying with a grain of salt because you're going to see all these headlines and you can't get shaken out by the news. Now, let's get into what is called the silver snapshot because we absolutely killed it last week on silver. Absolutely killed it. Okay, so I'm going to take this FRVP off really quick. We're going to make this chart incredibly simple. Okay. And as you can see, this is the first trade that hit. We came up here to the 2.0. We got full take profit on this. This was an over 7% trade. Absolutely crushed it. I mean, this took literally, what, 2 days? And you made 7% on your portfolio. Absolutely insane trade. Congratulations to anybody that took it, right? What was our second trade that hit? Well, we just flipped right there, and we are guaranteed to make money on this. All you do is you start trailing your stop loss up. This is going to be an over 7% move to the upside if we long, right, from this 1.786 fib, which is what we gave out last week, bang, and we come up here to the $49.30 level and we reject. Great. Okay, cool. We take our profits. Okay. Now, what we can do is this week, first and foremost, that I'm going way far out on this, okay? I'm going way far out on this. Now, if you get back above here, right, this is the 2.236 fib. If we get back above this, we regain all of these moving averages, and then we back test it, right, with a new all-time high, no SFP and no bearish divergence up here. You can technically have a bearish divergence up here. That's fine, because that is the thing that could get you the pullback to the 2.236 fib. Then you get the bounce and you're longing, right? That one's very simple, okay? Now, secondarily, the same exact thing here. The only difference is you want to see a high above this with no swing failure pattern, no bearish divergence. You want to gain all of these moving averages, come back down and test the 2.0 at $49.30, and then boom, you're trying to blast it up to hopefully $53.13.5, right? If not, it'll be right here at around, $51.50, something like that. Now, third, if we come back down here, great, cool. We'll just take that same exact long that we were just talking about that hit this week. We'll just take it again, right? That's very simple. So we had 2 trades hit this week on silver, okay? Which are absolutely banger trades, right? Now, secondarily, let's talk about shorts. If you SFP this all-time high with a bearish divergence, boom, you are shorting, baby. You're coming and bringing it right back down here to this consolidation zone, okay? That's a very simple one, okay? Now, secondarily, you have a second chance here, right? You might not get all the way up here. You might just come up here and top out. Boom, if you get a rejection here, right? Maybe even potentially an SFP and a bearish divergence of this high right over here. That is a good shorting opportunity. You're probably bringing it right back down here to the 2.0 fib, right? Now, third, we've got the $49 range, okay? If we come up here to about $49.30 and we reject, especially if we hit the 200 moving average right here, especially if we get an SFP right here and a bearish divergence, boom, you are shorting, you're bringing it right back down here to the 1.786 fib. And lastly, but not least, right? If we come down here to the 1.786, and we lose it, right? We get a new low here, no SFP, no bearish divergence, right? Because what we would also like to see is if we come back down here, we would like to see a bearish divergence or a bullish divergence right here on this long, right? So let me show you that. We would like to see an SFP of these lows and a bullish divergence, and then bang, that's a perfect setup for a long. Now, lastly, we want to break this low, come back up, retest this, boom, no swing failure pattern, no bullish divergence, and we want to bring it down to the 1.618 fib. Obviously, you know the other trades that we had before. We get down to the 1.618, you long, right? We get down to the 1.5, you long if we bounce from it, right? And you can short when we lose those two levels, right? The 1.5 and the 1.618. So now you have the levels on silver. Let's get in and gauge gold. All right, now gold is an absolute monster right now. It's doing very well, okay? But let's talk about what went well last week, right? So, boom, the 2.618, all right? This is what we were talking about last week, where we came in here and we said, okay, what are we going to do? If we lose this and we back test it, bang, we're coming down here and we're going to short all the way up to this prior double top. And that is exactly what we did. It wicked straight through it. Perfect entry, perfect exit, no problem. This was like a 3 or 4% move too in like a day. It was absolutely insane move. Look at this thing. Yeah, 3% in like a day. Absolutely crazy move. Secondarily, we did have this long, okay, that hit back here. Now, did we get all the way up to our profit target, which was right here? No, we didn't. I actually let it run, and we never got all the way up there. So as soon as we lost the 50 moving average, I stopped out right here because it was clear that we were setting a lower high. Okay, so no big deal on that, but we still killed it. We still won, and we have 4 for 4 on winners. Now, what can we do this week on gold? Well, first and foremost, we can short this 2.618 Fibonacci level, okay? Especially if we lose it and then back test it like we did here again. Boom, we can short it down to at least these lows. We can see what happens at these lows. And, if it's got more juice, then we just let it run, right? Those are game time decisions. You have to manage your trades, remember. Now, secondarily, if we get up above this 2.618 and we come up here and we SFP these highs right here, 1, 2, or 3 of these highs, you can start shorting, okay? Now, you need an SFP and a bearish divergence, and it would be, better if you actually stopped right here and got a rejection at the 200 moving average. Now, last short, you come up here and you SFP and set a new all-time high with a bearish divergence again. Again, that would be like a triple top, pretty close to a triple top, and even like a Wyckoff Model 1, which is very advanced. I understand that, a lot of people probably don't understand what that is, but bang, 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 and then you get a bearish divergence. You're shorting back down at least to that pullback point right there. Okay, now, the longs, very simple. We come all the way down here to the 2.236, which is $3,657. Dude, this is the long of longs, baby. This is the long of longs. Top, 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 boom, use this support, bam, blast it off. If we get down there, you are definitely longing. And the last one, obviously, we get back above here, we back test it, boom, you're trying to long this bad boy up to all-time highs. You might not get there. I mean, you might have to bring it up, here, here, or here. Obviously, game time decisions. Watch what happens at the 200 and these 3 swing highs right here. Don't get stopped out on your trade. Don't get round tripped on your trades. Don't just let your trades go into the negative for no reason when you're in profit. Always trail your stop loss up, okay? Now, lastly, let's talk about what's happening on the economic calendar before we go, right? So, FOMC, that's at 2 p.m. today. You gotta watch out, okay? That is where they're going to decide on the interest rate, okay? Thursday, which is tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., we've got GDP and initial jobless claims. So let's see if that actually moves the market. I'm not 100% sure. Government shutdown still happening. We will see. We will see if they report this stuff. It seems like they don't want to report stuff, okay? Monday, 9:45, S&P US manufacturing PMI, okay? Let's see if they report that. We've got JOLTS data. This is at 10 a.m. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We will see if they report this with the government shutdown. They may or may not. You got to be ready for either scenario, whether they do or whether they don't, right? And then whenever all this data comes out, you better be ready for a flurry. You better be ready for some volatility inside of gold. But that's what we train you for inside of the Golden Opportunity. So if you want to learn how to trade that volatility and make money from it, come over here and learn it from me, right? Now, next Tuesday, ADP National Employment Report. That is at 8:15. And then Wednesday, we have Global Services PMI, okay? S&P Global US Services PMI at 9:45, and then the ISM Services PMI at 10 a.m. Again, we will see which ones of these actually get reported. I can't say for certainty any of them, that will or won't. We will see what the government does and if the government shutdown ends. But one thing that you can know for certain is that I will be here next week on Wednesday for the Golden Nugget, and hopefully you will be too. Thank you seriously so much for showing up. I will see you next week. I appreciate you all so much. If you want to learn how I have this 88% win rate and what's going through my head, how I pick out these trades, how we consistently pick out these levels when everybody else is screaming and running for the hills and we're in there trading and making money, please get inside of the Golden Opportunity and I'll be glad to see you in there. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Imagine waking up every day with freedom. No boss, no clock, just you, your charts, and profit stacking. That is the life of a verified pro trader, and it's exactly how I built mine, by learning to trade gold the right way. I've helped countless members start winning, and now it's your turn. This is your golden opportunity to trade like a pro, live like a boss, and take advantage of the gold super cycle that is transferring wealth like we've never witnessed before. So make this your golden opportunity.